Dream visions, hackings and trials, world events. Greetings and trust you are well. This is a dream vision I had on the morning of the 12th of December 2022. I see lots of hackings going on in the world. I see the purpose of these hackings is to hack nations and accuse them of hacking in order for these nations to pick a side in the coming war. I see lots of nations get hacked. The purpose is to expose the hack and then for the nations to choose which side they will be on. Then before me, I am in a courtroom, and I see a group on trial, a group or community that wishes to protect the people. They are brought to the courts. These are the trumped up charges or one of the trumped up charges which will be brought against them to get them down. I see the trial involves diamonds. They are accused of illegal diamond mining, but it is nothing than an orchestrated trumped up charge against the people to get them down. Nothing of it is based in reality. Make sure you have nothing to do with diamonds, and make sure that should they wish to do this, that you expose their fake trials to get you down. Set them up to fall into their own trap. The purpose of it is to break groups down and to make sure they get the weapons. It will be shown around the world as a mock trial, as in these right-winger whites were using blood diamonds. I pray to the Most High that all their plans will come to nothing and they will not be able to bring any of these charges against any of our people. Now that their plans are revealed, may their plans be foiled and destroyed. So those are those two dream visions from today. Now let's discuss some world events. I have wanted to put something up for weeks now but could not bring myself to write for some strange reason. Let's discuss this Russian ship which docked in Simon's Town, so everyone is speculating what could have been in those crates. I can be sure that it was not money nor drugs. The financial banking system would pick up money laundering in large quantities due to the swift interbank market, and the Reserve Bank of South Africa, which sends its weekly reports to the Bank of International Settlements, would have picked it up. So it's a process of elimination, but we can go one step further. What did the prophet Sina van Rensburg say about Russia in the future? The seer mentioned, Russia would return to its old ways. What were Russia's old ways? Their old ways were the Soviet Union, and what did they do in the previous Soviet Union? Did they not send weapons to Africa to fight colonialists? Did we not hear recently that Putin mentioned he stood by the Africans in their fight against apartheid and also colonialism? Yes, he did, so we can pretty much through a process of elimination figure out what was sent, but let us say we are wrong and it is not weapons. It is not what was hidden that is the real issue here. Here once again we have to look at world events. It is more the signal sent to the world. Russia sent a signal to the West. We can interfere in any country. We do not care about sanctions. We have partners throughout the world and we will do it. It is to cause paranoia in the West. The communist fires I spoke about during the last world events videos. We see this take place at the same time China is busy kicking the legs out of America. Did I not mention China and India would be fighting Europe and they would come for the oil? I did. The dream vision revealed that China would go after America's oil. They went to Saudi Arabia to strike a deal and get the Saudis away from the petrodollar. So while the West is fighting Russia, this two-pronged assault on the West where Russia is fighting a physical war. China is busy kicking out and hollowing out the West by doing deals right in America's face. Kicking the legs out of America. After Saudi Arabia, next stop Angola. We will see China head to Angola to take those oil fields next. I warned you, America, China is going for the oil, but you are so blind. Without aim, without purpose, your wings have been clipped. You have enemies not in far distant lands but in high places in your own land, in banking, the media, Hollywood, all subverting your system, your country. Using you as a prostitute to do all the dirty deeds, and when they are done with you, they will have your country invaded as they have done to every European Christian country for the past 2000 years. I pray America you wake up, led astray, far from God, Far from the foundations of your forefathers, you are like a ship without a rudder. Mighty as you are, like a beautiful grand wooden house. Your pillars are hollowed out by parasite termites. In your grandeur you falter. Go back to God. Make right, do the right thing. So China is busy knocking the legs out of the dollar. Russia is defiantly showing the West they do not care, while Europe freezes and people go hungry. There is no honor among thieves. Like the West betrayed South Africa, so many shall betray America and the West, as the seer mentioned. While Europe freezes, goes hungry, they have the masses entertained with grown-up men celebrating who can kick a ball in a net with their World Cup soccer. Well, I could not tell you who is doing what. I have turned my back on the world. I look up and do not focus on all these distractions. To me, there is nothing more pathetic to see a grown-up man get exited about sport or playing TV games. Each to their own, but do not complain when you are being led astray with all these distractions. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is important. Recently Morocco beat one of these European sports teams, and the next thing they were rioting, burning things in the streets like true third world degenerates and scum they are. You let the heathen in, you will have continuous problems. The point with it is that if this is how they react by celebrating, then imagine what will take place when they lose or something gets said about Islam, and worse off. If some Islamic leader sends a message for them to rise up. There are so many Muslims now in Europe, the danger zone, the tipping point has been reached, there is no going back. The seer said that in the future, there will be something like a Bartholomew's night, when they will all rise up and launch some attack. Now this is an insight that came to me. First of all, it requires you to know who is who in this world and who is fighting the European Christian male. If you understand this, then you will know who the enemy from biblical days right up until this present moment is. Now, should a night attack or an event like this take place in Europe, the question is, how will they get their weapons? Where will the weapons come from? Most European males are disarmed through the international banking communists in charge of Europe. Well, just think about it for a moment. Think about it logically. It should be so obvious where the weapons will come from that I should not even have to point it out. Well, what do we see taking place in Ukraine? Is a war not going on there? Do we not hear reports all the time of weapons, large, vast quantities of weapons vanishing from the war zone, and no one knows where they have gone? And to take this insight even further, while typing this out, a vision appeared before me to further add to this. What do we see brewing in Serbia right now with Kosovo? Do you think it is a coincidence this is picking up right now? Chances are many of these munitions have arrived in the Arab, Turk Albanians' hands. The Albanians may be called Europeans, they are no more Europeans than Ramaphosa is a European. They are leftovers from the Ottoman Empire. Now, with issues picking up with Muslims and Christians in Serbia and Kosovo, once this picks up with the religious war, and you have Turkey now straying far from the West, beating the war drums as the dream vision showed with Greece, it will not take long before the Turk says something and gets involved. Now tie in the seer's words about race riots which will hit France during this civil war which he spoke about, which would take place in Russia. Russia during his time in the 1900s included Ukraine. We have now millions, upon millions of migrants brought into Europe, America, pushed into the West, all fighting age men. Weapons go to Ukraine and vanish, Kosovo picks up, the Alabamians get their weapons, and then the Turk or some Islamic leader utters some words about fighting in Europe against the Christians, some jihad. Then tie in the missing weapons and you have serious issues. At the same time they begin drafting men to go fight in Ukraine while the women and children are left behind with these third world animals. They are animals, if they cannot act civilized and want to burn things, they are animals that do not deserve to have or share anything with the Western European Caucasian. These are the sins of multiculturalism. It will always come back to haunt you. The West should have not had anything to do with these nations. Look how the Saudis turn their back on America. They are not loyal. Where would any of these nations be without the inventions of the car? They would not even know there was oil below their sand dunes. They would still be riding their camels, like your typical camel jockey. The future of the West should not be to share any education, advancements, weapons, inventions with any nations. You uplift them only for them to turn on you. Where would Africa be today without the European inventions? They would still be in mud huts, trying to figure out not only which day of the week it is but not knowing which year they are in, nor knowing where they are on planet Earth. Mother Nature had been taking care of them for centuries with cholera, malaria, tsetse fly, diseases to keep their populations in check, and along comes the very dumb, over-intellectualized white man wanting to play God and uplift them, and what has been the end result? It's funny, they keep on pushing multiculturalism in the West, but how many of you have been to a zoo to find all the animals all in one cage? You do not find lions and elephants in the same cage. You do not find the zebra and crocodiles in the same cage. If you did that, the news would have non-stop news coverage about animal rights abuses. You would have purple, pink, green-haired transgenders all protesting for the rights of the animals, yet in Europe, the West, it is pushed onto everyone. This is not an experiment. It is by design. Designed to destroy the West. We know that because it is only the West this is forced upon. It is by no accident, and of course they will call you racist for calling it out. Listen, the only reason they call you racist is because you are white. The word racism has lost all meaning and retentiveness, since it is only applicable to whites or Europeans. Being born white now is crime. Remember, first they told you there are no differences between the races. Then they told you there are no differences between the sexes, and soon they will tell you there is no such thing as human with the transgenderism.